those books. It's all done in-house. The the prior experience I had at Ananda was with our expanding light kitchen and dining room, which was kind of a reflection of my transition from the hospitality industry I used to be in many years ago. So I came to Ananda back in 19, my goodness, 1993 for yoga teacher training. And that was a month of intensive practices, which fulfilled the promise of yoga and the promise of Yogananda and Swami Kriyananda, which is to adjust my vrittis, to remove them, and to help streamline the flow of energy through my nervous system, which worked wonderfully. At the same time, uh, I was able to become a yoga instructor, added to what I had done previously as a massage practitioner. I started working more with the body, and I came to Ananda thinking that I would sort of jump right in there. And as soon as they found out I had a culinary background, uh, as often is the case on spiritual paths, you get to experience expansion of what spirit wants and not necessarily what you think you're supposed to be doing. So I spent about 10 years in our kitchens. And at the same time, I do have some experience in our other communities. I spent about a year, a little less than a year, in Assisi, running their kitchen for them, um, which was kind of a miracle for me to be able to be in Italy, to be able to be with Swami Kriyananda at that time, and to serve devotees. And also, I became a tour guide for the sites of St. Francis, which was one of the highlights of my life. And many life-changing events took place between Swami, St. Francis, and Master during that 1 year. My wife and I moved back to the community in 2000, back to the States, and we were asked to come to Ananda Village. My wife her name is Giovanni, and for many years she was the manager of the Expanding Light, and I worked there as the chef. She worked as the uh, general manager, so we were kind of mom and pop for a while there. She's since transitioned over to being the hair cutter for the community, but also is doing some stints every week at the Expanding Light, working the front desk. This is how it works at Ananda. You go to where you're needed, and we also need a hairdresser at Ananda Community. We both have had our opportunities to grow, and I think we've weathered it pretty well. I want to talk a little bit about that in our talk today, but the question Supriya asked me is sort of to explain who am I? Well, I'm going to tie that into the talk today. Who am I? I'm going to reverse it and say, who are you? Who are you? This is the old debate, if we want to get esoteric, between in Vedanta, between is this a path of unity or separation? Is this a path of um, sort of the one or the many? And we all have our various definitions of who we are, and that's inevitable because we're human beings and we're on this planet. But I want to start with what we actually teach here to remind us of who we are. And bluntly, we are that. Tat Twam Asi. You are that. Whatever you think spirit is, one, it's more than that. And two, you are that spirit in the form that you've taken. So really, there's no separation in us right now, and no separation between us and spirit. I'm sorry if do we have some interference? Can you hear that or not?
We did not hear that.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. So back to the formal statement of Tat Twam Asi, that's wonderful to declare, but because especially of the process that I've been through at Ananda, where I actually manage the classes on discipleship on our online community. And by the way, before we're done today, I'll give you some details about the centennial on the times you were asking about. Um, because I work with the discipleship program, I'm very much involved with answering questions that pertain to an individual's growth and what the guru means and why the guru. Do I need a guru? Who is Yogananda? All these things. What's really essential for us, because you're gathered here, is to remember what Yogananda told us, told groups of people, told devotees especially, told people who are interested. It's just being here now. And I literally mean this. I can see a few of you in the room, and others will be probably watching this at some point. Just being here now means that you've come a long way in the progression of your soul. You still always were part of God, but you're realizing it more. Self realization is what Yogananda called this work. Just being here now means you have very, 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 very good karma. Swami used to try to evoke Yogananda's presence by repeating that to us all the time, and he would actually get very demonstrative. You have very, 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 very good karma. And he almost had to pound it into us at times. But who are we in essence? We are that. We are that light. Um, I want you to think just for a moment. I'm going to tell you the answer here, but I want you to think about what are those qualities, what are those essences of spirit? Can can one of you at least start me off with this? Name one of the aspects that Yogananda said is part of spirit or is spirit.
Calmness was brought up.
Calmness.
Calmness.
Perfect. That was a giveaway today. That was a giveaway. Yes, calmness. Well, here are the others. There are seven more. There's eight. Each one of these is part of your soul's DNA, if you want to call it that. It's your nature. It's your inheritance. And don't forget it. But we will. But that's why we have satsang, and that's why we have sadhanas, and that's why we have selfless service, so we can always remember these things. We are love. You are love. We are light. You are light. Physically, that's true. Okay. You are joy. You are bliss eternal. Your vibration of sound, that om that was mentioned just earlier, that we should contemplate that and become part of it. That's the vibration of spirit. That's what you are. Peace. Peace in all the contemplative ways of approaching it. That's who you are. Energy and power can be used interchangeably, but you are that power. You can call on that power at any time. Wisdom. You have within you the access to the divine because you are divine. So, wisdom, love, light, joy, sound, calmness, peace, and power. This is our inheritance. We have the keys on this path. And I say this um, in a very broad sense, but also specific. Broad in the sense that just because I'm with Ananda and an Ananda minister, a light bearer, it doesn't mean I'm not aware of and I haven't come from other traditions. I have never met or found a path that so quickly gives you the keys to the kingdom that Jesus promised. There's a reason why Jesus is on our altar, and that's not just because Yogananda was trying to assuage us, all of us in the West, and trying to make these more pleasing. Our tradition says that Babaji, the sort of initial guru in our tradition, related to, worked with the Christ consciousness, with Jesus, to promote the further evolution and understanding now that mankind is more ready than it was 2,000 years ago, to bring this teaching forward, to give you the keys to the kingdom of spirit, to give you the realization the knowing of wisdom, love, light, joy, sound, calmness, peace, and power. Now, uh, if that sounds like I'm a kind of banging the drum to get you to remember, well, yeah, a little bit. You'll remember those aspects now. And if you aren't familiar with them, your friends there can help you understand them. There's a lot of literature on this in Yogananda's teachings. But I want to transition this over into this celebration that we have at Ananda Worldwide here at Ananda Village coming up in a week, which we've been preparing for over a year. What are we celebrating? Well, outwardly, we're celebrating the life of Swami Kriyananda, who was born about 100 years ago. But in true Swami fashion, the way Swami shared Yogananda's teachings, this is really not about him. It's about you. Swami, like great teachers and like the masters, and like Jesus, came to tell us not how great they were and to get us to worship, but to get us to attune into, they would call attunement, to um, consider, to understand, and to apply what they did in their lives. Not again to tell us how great they are, though that's wonderful to contemplate. Wow, Yogananda did this, or this master here did that, or look at what Swami did in his 80 some years, establishing communities worldwide, taking Yogananda's teachings out to a broader public that was ready for this variation of these teachings. He didn't do that just to establish himself at all. In fact, he tried to belittle himself many times. And he talked about how he himself was a production. And that production was there to, um, to focus on the work of his guru. And I believe most of us here, our guru, Yogananda. And again, not to hold Yogananda up, because he doesn't need held up, but to emulate him. When Swami was told at one point when he was at SRF and he was playing a part of Jesus, he was told he looked like Jesus. And he kind of condescendingly told Yogananda that, they thought I looked like Jesus with my beard. And, and Yogananda basically changed his attitude about this. And he said, well, the Swami had said, that would be nice if I could become that someday. And Yogananda was very clear. He said, that will happen. Not about Swami becoming like Jesus, but all souls, all aspects of God, the understanding in the Vedas, in the rich traditions of almost all major religions and teachings, is that we come back to spirit. In fact, we don't come back to spirit. Frankly, you are spirit right now. Can you hear that? You don't have to come back to spirit. You are spirit right now. It's the delusion that we have that even when I'm going through my trials, and believe me, just because you move forward in an organization that's based on these teachings doesn't mean you don't get your trials. I see all my friends going through things now, but they hold on to the guru's hand. They hold on to the attunement of the guru, to the attunement of their teacher, Swami Kriyananda, as an example, because we need exemplars. That's why they're called that. We need bright lights, but the world needs bright lights. And that's why it's important for each one of us to, one, realize who we are, and two, to act on it. Um, I found two readings from Whispers from Eternity that were right next to each other, and they were, I thought, perfect for this type of day where we're talking about how do we take these teachings and apply them. Right? How do devotees rise? Well, one, do you consider yourself a devotee? Yes, you do, probably. Well, if not, you're considering it. And what does that consideration give you? It gives you those 8 aspects of spirit. as a reminder. And again, Yogananda took these Hori Vedas, these Hori teachings, complicated to understand at times the way they'd been presented in another language, another culture, and he made it understandable. He made it understandable and applicable. Here's one of the readings from Yogananda's Whispers from Eternity. With the torch of our devotion, blaze our dark indifference. Divine Mother, let all the slaps of our trials wring from us only the one cry for thy love. Transmute our trial-born wails into unceasing cries for thee. O Divine Mother, teach the voice of our pain to sing only thy soothing songs of joy. Melt our pride in the furnace of thy purifying flames, and transmute it into the pure gold of humbleness. Divine Mother. Notice, by the way, Yogananda is always referring to the divine. It's not about him, it's about the divine, and he calls her Divine Mother. Divine Mother, shatter the small hamlet of our selfishness, in which lie huddled all the urchins of ignorance, and build thy temple of omnipresence for thy votaries of devotion, reverence, soul love, to find sanctuary there, and to worship thee with songs of heart whispers. In the golden temple of thy whispers, they will offer to thee their ever fragrant frankincense of unceasing soul chants. O Divine Mother, we lay at thy feet all the new-grown, fresh flowers of our eager devotion. Divine Mother, place thine omnipresence on the little altar of our united hearts. Divine Mother, be thou the only love of our souls. Divine Mother, ignite our earthliness with the flame of infinity, with the torch of our devotion, blaze our dark indifference, our restlessness, and our ignorance. Inflame our minds with thy thoughts, inflame our hearts with thy love, inflame our souls with thy joy. So how do devotees rise? How do they rise? Well, Yogananda said this is a path. This new age is about energy. He gave us something that kind of matches that, the energization exercises. He gave us techniques of pranayama, breathing exercises, energy movement exercises. He recommended different prescriptions, if you would, spiritual prescriptions for us to practice, like meditation, Hong Sa, Kriya, yoga. The idea wasn't just to formalize those practices. The idea was for us to attain the ability to remember who we are. And when we remember who we are, like Swami was reminded by his guru, like Swami talked to us about what to become and the purpose of establishing communities, of establishing world brotherhood concepts, of living Christ-centered life. We wouldn't call it many different things, but I think Christ consciousness really fits it, because what is the purpose of the Christ? The Christ consciousness says, I and my Father, I and my mother are one. Well, if we could all live like that, we might see more groups, more gatherings, more satsangs, more cultures that lived in more harmony. If we had more harmony, we could usher in a higher consciousness around us. We wouldn't have the difficulties that we're facing today as cultures, as countries, as publics, as organizations. So the time for knowing God, Yogananda said, has come. And he wasn't talking about a specific date. He was talking about when you get the message, the time for knowing God has come. That was his purpose. Now, Swami took that and charged those he knew and charged many people who didn't know him well, but put in the ether that consciousness of Yogananda, that consciousness of the Christ energy. And he offered that to each one of us. So we as devotees, if we are disciples, how do we rise? We rise by tuning ourselves into a real simple technique I have. A bumper sticker. It says, what would Yogananda do? Now, I got to tell you, don't always match what Yogananda would do. But I'm being called forth. And that's the purpose of a devotee. The purpose of a devotee, how do devotees rise, is to follow the Christ, follow the Guru, follow your teacher. Once they've proven to you who they are, it's time to get on board. So, with Swami and the centennial that we have uh, appearing almost immediately, we have a great gathering of about little less than 1,000 people will be around Ananda Village during that time. But online, right now, I didn't look at the figures today, but I'm involved with that end of the work here. We have about 3 to 4,000 people signed up. You may or may not be some of those already. The process is really easy. The process is basically you go to ananda.org and you're going to see on the home page there is a link for information about the centennial. And when you go to that link, it's going to walk you through the process of registering. It's not that busy. It's very easy actually to do. And if you need help, just ask one of your neighbors there to help you with it. But it is free. There's no coupon needed. There's nothing to fill out except your email address. And when you fill out your email address or your name, if you already have an account with Ananda, if you already visit Ananda online and have saved classes, it will take you there and it will allow you to register for the class. If you have not signed into Ananda before, you will be asked to establish an account, and that's basically filling in your name and your email address, and then an acceptance. And then that will take you to a page that you basically are registering at that point. And from that point, you'll be getting emails throughout the week reminding you of events, and you will be given a link with the homepage for the event, and you can sign into there anytime. And you can also then watch events after they've actually occurred. So the things that are videoed will be available for you. And also, um, we have the online program itself has some unique offerings. We have a couple gatherings online. We have no idea how many people will attend live online when we do it, but we will have some meetings throughout the week. There will be plenty of activities for you from early morning meditations, our time, early morning meditations. So remember, we're 2 hours apart from you, but also on that ananda.org page and the Centennial page, there's a link so you can figure out what time it is. But basically, just add your 2 hours, and I think you'll be fine. So, um, back to the subject of how do devotees rise? Well, we rise by remembering God, and we need help because uh, the day is set forth with work times, rest times, eating times, family times. We have all these obligations and activities. And there's kind of a simple way to remember spirit. Let me see if I've got my note here, which I think I saved for us. Well, I don't need it, but so basically, whenever something comes up, remember spirit. Practice your japa, practice repeating the name of God or the Guru. Whatever works for you. Om Jesus, Om Jesus, Om Christ, Om Christ, Om Guru, Om Guru, Yogananda, Yogananda, whatever. Focus on what the Guru would do in your circumstance. What advice would the Guru give you? Then, when you serve others, when you're actively involved with others, remember that you're the physical manifestation to help them, but it's really spirit behind you and in you and around you and with you that's basically guiding you to be available, but you have free will. So it's often important to ask when you go into an event, when you go into a situation, even if you're resting and you know your day's ahead of you, Ask Spirit, ask the Guru to have you be a channel. You may not know what's happening that day. You don't know who you're going to meet. But whoever you meet, be a channel. Be a channel for a fellow aspect of spirit. That fellow aspect of spirit, the grocer, is a good one to use. The person who's checking you out at the grocery store, in a way, are they a student of yours, or are they a teacher? Or are they a compatriot who's also going through life? See them as a child of God. See everything as an opportunity to not to proselytize, but to share those 8 aspects. You don't have to blast them and think of all of them. Wait a minute before I say hello. Am I going to give love or peace or joy? No. What you want to do is hold and become those. And when you become those, when you remember that you are that, the other person's going to pick that up. You'll see this time and time again. I'm sure you do already. So those 8 aspects of spirit are what's going to kind of keep us in tune. I don't know if you can see this. And no, I guess we can't. So I'm going to read something to you. There's a situation where a devotee is holding on for dear life on a branch of a tree. All right.
Huh.
And there's an elephant at the base of that tree shaking the tree. Underneath the devotee holding on for dear life is a snake pit. Okay. The snake in the pond, that represents future karma coming our way. The branch of the tree represents our present life. The white and black rats that are waiting also at the bottom and running up the tree, they're eating life itself. However, the honeycomb that's in this tree, and there's a big honeycomb, while it's so attractive, it's Maya. It's illusion. It's all the things that we're attracted to and we find, oh, what happened in the news today? Oh, what did so and so say about that? What do they think of me? All these things, my likes and dislikes, my attachments. The devotee is stuck holding the devotee. Well, let's say the seeker is stuck looking up at the honeycomb and trying to get the drips of honey that are coming down because it's so sweet. It feels so sweet. But the honey has got him trapped. The honey has got her trapped. Right off to the side, but because the focus of the seeker is on the sweetness of the honey, is the hand of God. In whatever form that is for you. Is it a guru? Is it Christ? Is it a friend? Is it some aspect that you relate to? This Lord is extending his hand for release. But because the attraction of the Maya, of the honey, is so sweet, the individual fails to see the extended hand of God. This is what the Guru brings us. The Guru walks us home to spirit, but we have to acknowledge and know it to take advantage of it. So, how do devotees rise? They see through the delusion of Maya. They see that they too are part of God, that they have the ability because they are spirit itself. Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. And they spend their energy, their time, not neglecting their responsibilities, but understanding what is the doer. Yogananda said God does 50%. The guru does 25%. The individual, you must do your 25%, but you got to do it with as much energy as possible. Again, that age of energy that we're in. But here's the secret. You look up and say, look, okay, now this doesn't make sense because you said God is the doer. So, and you also said that the guru is actually an agent of God. So that's at least 75%. Come on, I need some more help here. You have to plead for help in a way. Not plead in the sense of being a beggar, but as Yogananda said, demand. Demand as a child of God. You got me into this, now you got to get me out. And then also realize, as I said in a few minutes earlier, that you are that. So who is doing you? God is doing you. And it's God's play. Can you laugh at it? Can you rejoice in it? Look, we all have challenges. And I find myself in the middle of my challenges sometimes just laughing. It doesn't mean I've got the answer, but it means I remind myself and I talk to Master, I talk to God and say, look, I've done the best I can to the best of my knowledge. Now you got to help me out. So what are we doing here? We're calling on Spirit. It's that easy. But you have to know that you have the right to call on Spirit, that you have the ability to call on Spirit. In fact, you are creating something that is cyclical in nature, that this is a system of reciprocity. God is waiting for us. God is there. God is. We are here. But if unless we participate, unless we reach out from this hanging limb and reach out to hold God, we can't complete the cycle. And Yogananda said, God has everything but our love, and she will wait. Why not complete that cycle? Why not complete that connection and walk hand in hand with the guru? In other words, whatever that means to you, dive deeper, dive richer, dive with the affirmation that you too are that. And there's no separation in time or space. Now, it seemed like I was haranguing us a little bit, only to make a point. Um, the other quick reading from Whispers from Eternity kind of answers the first one I read. All futurity danced in me the infinite rhythm. This is from Yogananda. I disconnected the rays of my mind from the little territory of the senses and switched them on in the land of the infinite. The aurora of my attention spread in all directions, embracing infinity. When thus I delved into the infinite. Thought was no longer veiled behind flesh and appearances, but I stood in a land unveiled and found streams of rushing, glistening thoughts, felt rippling thoughts of millenniums, of born and unborn civilizations. All futurity danced in me the infinite rhythm. Think of the possibilities. Think of the unlimited possibilities. In fact, Yogananda at one point called some of his lessons unlimited possibilities. That's our that's our inheritance. That's how devotees rise, by removing ourselves from the mundane and embracing the divine, because that's who you are, Tatwamasi. So many blessings to you all.
Thank you very much for sharing those thoughts. And the seven aspects of the divine are going to actually be in our Path of Kriya class today.
Good. Good.
Seven.
Eight. Right.
Oh, eight. I'm sorry. They're in pair. I
Did,
lost
I,
one,
I,
you see?
did you say nine? Did I hear nine?
No,
Yeah,
I,
nine.
I said seven, and a
Oh,
friend here said,
right.
aren't there eight? And I said, oh, I lost one.
Good. That you did that intentionally to help them out there. It was good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're in sets of two. And
Hi, Stuart.
eight.
Yeah.
Okay. So, does anyone have a comment? We have a microphone here. Or online, you are welcome to unmute yourself and address Premdas, say hello, ask a question, or just share.
I'll break the ice. It's Mike Wolverton. Nice to see you,
Mark,
Nayaswami Premdas.
nice to be with the two of you there and the rest of you too. Can you tell me who the people are in the audience? I don't think I know them by name, or if I do, it's been a while.
You want
Oh,
me to do it?
yes. Yeah. I mean, by name, we have on my right, Linda Shaindienst. And
Okay, hi,
in the
Linda.
middle, we have Celia. And over on my left
I
is
see.
Carolyn. And operating the equipment, maybe he'll come
Yeah.
out at some point, is Francisco.
Thank you, Francisco, for helping us out today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're busy. I'm going to probably get a little rest today, but we are expecting even more people signing up in the next 7 days. And in fact, more people will be signing up over time during the event. I mention this because I don't know if you've seen some of the literature, but my name's on some of it now. It says if you need help, you can write to Nayaswami Premdas. Um, but
Great.
basically, that's for people who get stuck in the process. But nevertheless, we're here to help you if you have any questions. But just follow the links, and it should take you all the way through. And if you really get stuck and you write me, there is an easy way to access the classes when they're going on. But we would like everyone to register if they could. It just helps us out. Again, no charge and pretty easy, straightforward. No credit card needed.
Yeah, I found it to be very easy myself. I just went on there and well, there we are. And then at one point I looked at all my classes and there we are. And it's got things you can look into there. But it was, what I was going to talk about was the 8 aspects actually, that it's so wonderful to perceive and in meditation improve one's perception of those 8 aspects and have them living with us in our lives all the time. And one thing that I've done that is not necessarily recommended, but I think what's recommended is for everybody to find some way to attune to those 8 aspects. And what I do is I make sure I don't miss them of a week. And I have a day of the week that I make sure that I associate that with Hong Saw. The day that what is my inner focus going to be for example, maybe on Sunday it would be light because the sun has a lot of light, and maybe on Monday it would be the moon, which reminds one of Divine Mother, the moon. Now, in other words, it would be sound, Om, and that might be a good day if to practice the Om technique on that day if I haven't been doing it other days. And then on Tuesday for power, because that is Mars Day. That's where a lot of power is, where we are trying to be powerful for ourselves and in service to others also. That's a good, if a person finds strength within themselves, one can relate to others. And I could go on with this, but I think the key thing is that inwardly to love everyone from their perspective. It's like when I pray for someone, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm like if I pray for a political leader, whether I like them or not, it's like from their perspective that I love them. So in my heart is a relationship of love with each person, no matter what the outward circumstances are. That's not as important as that in my heart that I love them. And I have a pretty large extended family when I look at all my wife's family. Hers is much bigger than mine, my side. But so I pray for all these individuals, and if on an ego level I may prefer or this or that or about each one, but there's just like a prayer from their perspective that they're highest, from their own perspective, without any opinion of mine, is supported. And I found that to be very helpful. And also I have experienced that when I've had a turmoil feeling with another human being, that creates problems compared to my very first experience of praying for other people was like when I very first joined Ananda, which was in 1993, and I first went there in 94. And I saw you about in the 90s. We hung out a bit. And I always uh, pray for everyone, and that's oh, I know what I did. I just prayed for a bunch of people that were managers. Okay, here's all the people at my work as engineers that were managers. I'm just gonna pray for them. And it's like, it's amazing what doors open. I wasn't trying to make any doors open. One of those people left the company, and I was having my worst manager, and one of my worst managers from my 36-year career, and this person shows up and takes over from my manager to be my boss. So after we're retired, and we're together, the men's group of retirees, he said, because of you and Tim, I decided I want to come to work there. And he was somebody that my first week I ever tried a healing prayers, I'm just trying it out. He's one of the 5 guys I prayed for, and he ends up being like the best manager I ever had. I mean, it's like, it's just a miracle to think about these things. So to let's just say to be aware of the gift, of the hand that you were describing in that image, that hand is always there. The honey is there, but it's like, God, is that honey for me? Is it for me today or not really? It's not like, I'm going to always ask God. I'm going to always intuit my highest purpose, my dharma. Thanks for listening to me. I'm known to rattle on sometimes.
That was
Rattle on, brother. That was good.
No, it was really good.
Mark, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I like to play around with the 7 aspects of God in daily life.
8.
That's
8.
Where do I get the 7? I have to see which one I'm missing.
It's checking.
That's
You're
okay.
checking us.
When we're in class today, we're going to find out which one Supriya has lost. Help me, Mike. Mike and I will be co-teaching today.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, the 8 aspects. So I've been told more than once in life, especially earlier on this path by my teachers, to lighten up because I was taking things very seriously. And I think it's good to take the path seriously and put your energy into it, but that the stress that they saw was happening in me, they would keep telling me to lighten up. So I've learned to find fun ways to do a lot of things that work for me. And one of them is, like I did it the other day, I was in Trader Joe's, and out of the clear blue, I don't always plan this, it happens, but once you start practicing it, these things happen by the grace of God, right? So someone was in her cart, and I'm in my cart, and I'm pretty slow these days, and anyway, they came off and cut me off with their shopping cart. Yeah. And I just did this, and everything was fine. And then a little bit later, I said, what aspect of the divine is in you right now? What are you feeling? And I thought, I'm feeling peace. And I really was feeling peace. And I thought, and which one are you not feeling? And then I went, uh-oh. It was joy. And it was like, why are you not feeling joy? You're peaceful, but you're not joyful. So I needed to access the joy. Anyway, I just play with these things. And sometimes I'm just stopped. That's when I think other shoppers get annoyed with me a little bit, because I'm stopped and I'm going inward. My eyes are open, but I'm playing my little game, figuring out with God, what do I need to increase right now?
Wow.
Anyway, it's just the fun thing that I do. And that says peace.
Peace.
Have you seen these before? A devotee in Florida made these. And I can't think of her name right now, but I will.
I remember. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so these are all cut. Basically, ideas, they're all cut from one limb.
Wow.
And I was thinking about making this point when you were talking. So here's the aspects, right? I have to hold them up so I can see them too here. These are all the 8 aspects. Here's calmness for today. And you get the drift. But my point with these, and I love this aspect, is they're all part of the one. You see that true love is peace. True peace is love. You take any of these and pass them around, however you want to play, and true vibration, Om, sound, is wisdom. There's wisdom. You can verify each of these aspects if you want to understand them by corresponding them to the others. So when people
Yeah.
say, is this true love? Well, do you find peace in that love? Do you find calmness in that love? Is there power in that love?
Mm.
Etc. So you can take any of these, in my humble opinion, and interchange them to prove them. I mean, there are there are different ways of testing things like in your body. Like you can tap the somatic ways of kind of feeling healing nature to see what's going on. But in a mental way, if you are more mentally inclined, more of the jnana yogi, as we say it, you can play with these concepts. And is does love have light in it? Does light
Mm.
have love in it? And that will help you understand and actually feel these qualities because these aren't just mental, it doesn't work, mental qualities. They're actually qualities of the heart, as Yogananda would say, and as Swami Sri Yukteswar said. Very interesting, the top jnana yogi on our path that considered that, um, Yukteswar, in his Holy Science, the book, he concludes that love is God. And he takes you through time and space and all the elements and what's happening in the world when he was alive and what will happen. And this little book of 108 pages, which can be overwhelming at times if you when you first approach it, but as you go down the path and you stay longer, you start seeing this interaction of these qualities. And he actually concludes this great jnana avatar. Love is God. By the way, it's like 110 pages, I think, in a current book, 111. But I have to believe originally it had to come out to about 108 pages, just because that's a magic
Ah,
number. But anyway,
mm,
um, it's just interesting that you can approach Yogananda's presentation of this path through our gurus, through this lineage, and it's not complicated. But we have to have energy to apply it, and that's the challenge. You know, how many times you struggle? Have we struggled? Are you struggling with? I just do my Hong Sa or do my energization exercises. I struggled this morning. My wife and I were both like, no, no, no. We got to get going. We got obligations to do. We got to do this, do that. And both of us, we saw it in each other. We said, no, we're going to do it. Let's do it.
Uh-huh. Right.
You know, and sometimes you won't, and sometimes you'll fail, and sometimes you don't live up to that. But don't give up. A saint is a sinner who never gave up. Have you heard this one? Why were the saints saints? Because they were cheerful when it was difficult to be cheerful. I'm reading this off the wall. I have to have it up here all the time. Patient when it was difficult to be patient, and because they pushed on when they wanted to stand still,
Mm.
kept silent when they wanted to talk, and
Mm.
were agreeable when they wanted to be disagreeable. That was all. It was quite simple and always will be. That's what sort of makes a saint a saint.
Beautiful.
well,
Yeah,
I haven't heard that writing.
yeah, yeah. It's passed down from, I believe, from a close disciple of Master. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So we all have these struggles, but don't forget who you are. That's the key. And if these are just little tools, these little slices here, and even just the 7 or 8 or 9, whatever they are, aspects, you know, have fun, make it fun. Um, Life goes by fast. You know, enjoy what you got, and be a saint. You know, Saint Francis could have been really dour, and he had moments where he probably was. Padre Pio, one of the saints I love dearly, a modern saint, like Saint Francis. He had joy, and he had all kinds of trials. He lived in pain almost every day of his life once he got the stigmata. He said it was like walking on glass on his feet,
Boy.
and he kept going. And he changes people still to this day. And St. Francis has been doing that for 800 and some years, you know. And there's a reason why Yogananda felt an affinity for St. Francis. And some of you know this, and some of you may have never even heard of this or thought. Yogananda said he was an incarnation of William the Conqueror. Okay, what does that have to do with anything here? There's a relationship between William the Conqueror and something that came out of his court and the famous prayer of St. Francis. The Franciscans will tell you that that prayer was not actually from St. Francis, that it came from the court of William the Bastard, is what they called it in the book, because that's what he was called. I mean,
Yeah.
the English didn't still refused to think of him as their own. But Yogananda said he'd been William the Conqueror. Yogananda loved Saint Francis, and there's an affinity there. If Yogananda was uh, in that court and had that influence, he was attuned to that consciousness, and that prayer basically came from someone in the court of William the Conqueror. And this is in a book that's put out by the Catholic Church by the Franciscans, and it's called Francis and Clare, the book, and the intro, the foreword, states right there, this is not really ours, but we're grateful for it because it's the most popular prayer in the world. As a child growing up, related to Catholicism, though I wasn't Catholic, my family was. I had the prayer of St. Francis and a picture of St. Francis. Later on my own altar, I had a picture of Master and St. Francis and that prayer. And then I came across the book in about 1993 or so. It had been out, and I was like, what? And this is before the internet was really around. So I had to call up my friends at Ananda and say, you got to see this. I'm going to send a copy. I'm going to make a copy of this page. And you can't believe it. Other people, I think, had discovered it. But anyway, there's just these little incidences that when you're on the spiritual path will become more evident if you love God. Just love God. It's that easy. And then ask for help. You can ask for forgiveness too, but not in the sense of begging, but in the sense of you just need help. I've done the best I can, and you said that I'm eternal and that I am that. Well, let's get on. Let's get it on. Let's do it. Help me out, no matter what the circumstances. And we can change others' lives. I had a very, Mike, I had a very similar situation in a work uh, environment where I and this woman came to fisticuffs. I didn't hit her, but she started hitting me in the middle of a restaurant job. She was a
Oh
coworker,
gosh.
and I went to my minister at the time, who was very spiritual, but not on this path, but similar. And he said, "Your relationship with her is the problem." He says, "You don't respect her." I said, "Of course I don't respect her. I mean, look what she does." He says, "She knows you don't respect her, and and she's and she's not able to control that, and she's, you know, picking a fight with you, but you don't respect her. I recommend you put a picture of her on your altar."
Wow.
And I
Whoa.
did. I did not a picture. I had a mental image of her. I put something on the altar. And a couple of years later, like you, I met her, and there was no animosity. They were like friends. And I said, I want to apologize for
Mm.
that fight we had. She says, "What fight?" She'd completely forgotten about it. And she'd grown on. And I think part of it was because I was blessing her.
Yes.
But also, I had to release my own feelings, for that. And I had to,
Hmm.
so it was about me. It wasn't about her, but we created an energy of blessing. And
How beautiful.
in a way, she was my teacher. She helped me out. So,
Isn't that amazing? A way she was your teacher reminds me of living wisely, living well today. If there's troubles, a door will open. Be open to a door opening if there's some disappointment. I think that was the word. Okay, well, that gives an opportunity for a door to open. And it's up to the creativity and attunement to be willing to see that.
Very well put.
God bless you, Premdas. Thank you so much. It was so fantastic for all of us.
Well, likewise, it's satsang is really good, and to see friends, to have this opportunity to have friends all over and to connect. I'm very grateful for you having me here and to sharing with all of you who are here today and those watching. Yeah. So, Premdas at ananta.org if you got any questions or if you need any assistance anytime. Okay. Many
I want to
blessings.
say, I want to say especially thank you because it is the week before the centennial.
Yeah.
The fact that, yeah, he's panicking. Bye, go get ready for it. No, the fact that you were willing to come on, I'm sure there's a lot going on for this. I cannot imagine. And I'll be online with you guys. And anyone here in Texas, if you have any problems, you can first come to me, meaning we'll use Premdas as our last source for that. I'm sure you got many other things to do, but if I can help you to register, if I can do it, you can do it, and I've done it. So we'll help our own here
Yeah.
first.
And I'd like to just mention I somehow got in a shared cabin. I got lucky. So I'll see you. Look forward to that.
Oh,
Wow, I wonder. It could be. Do you know Bill Keithler from Denver?
Oh, I heard the person was from that state. No,
I bet
I
you.
might know him.
I bet you they paired you guys together.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Bill
he's coming
Keebler?
in on Monday. Bill Keithler is basically runs the meditation group in Denver. He and Mary
Beautiful.
Jo.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
so
Mary Jo. Oh,
oh, Mary
Cleveland.
Jo.
Bill Cleveland
yeah,
and
Mary
Mary
Jo.
Jo. Oh, I'll be
Yeah,
darned.
no,
Oh, good to
Bill
know.
Keithler and Mary Jo Cleveland. Right there you go.
Oh, okay. Keefler, Mary. Okay.
Yeah, but
Good to
anyway,
know that.
you'll definitely see him, and I'll see both
Yeah.
of you. And God bless everybody, really. Yeah, tune in if you can. It'll be great. And it's not so much about the lessons that we're going to be talking about and the teachings. It's going to be about sharing in the importance of satsang and what Ananda has from Yogananda's teaching and how we apply it. And we really this world needs this more and more. Uh, and look, we promote ourselves, but we're not a big entity that's all over. This is all word of mouth, person by person, in God, gurus, in Babaji's and Christ's time, and the time has come. So we got to do our part, and just love each other and share it and enjoy. Okay. Many blessings,
Will do.
everybody. All
Thank
right.
you.
See you.
Thank you,
See some of you
Premdas.
soon.